Hello and welcome to the Video Age. My name is Sean. I am your host on this podcast about things we are nostalgic for and things we are excited to be nostalgic for in the future. Wow, I managed to get through it. That has been since I decided on that, it's never come out easily. And today I have a guest with me. I have Greg from the Johnny and the Greg podcast, which they do over on Twitch. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. This is the first one I've done like this, which have somebody in my digital space,
Yeah,
the real life digital space. Isn't it wonderful? And everybody who
it's,
can see it, which is nobody, will see that it is
yeah.
wonderful.
We're this is just audio. Like everything I listen to is just audio. That's how we're putting it out.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I'm a very good looking person. For those of you that haven't seen me, I am stunning in person. So just keep that in your mind as you're hearing the golden pipes come through.
Yeah, we just hold beautiful imagery in your mind's eye
Yep.
for
Yep.
us. So today we are on our second episode of the Spring Cult Fling movie series, which last week we did Midsommar, which I have not recorded yet, but it's already been released because that's how things work when you do it like that. Uh, but that was last week's. This is this week's. This is Mandy from 2018, directed by Panos
Yep.
Cosmatos.
I
He's
think it's
got a one
Cosmatos.
Cosmatos.
Yeah, Panos
That's
Cosmatos.
Panos Cosmatos. Um, he previously directed Beyond the Black Rainbow in 2010, which I think I saw. I can't remember, but he does some strange, beautiful, crazy,
Yeah.
trippy movies, and
Yeah.
this is one to behold.
Most definitely. I did check out when I was looking at some of his other stuff, he did write an episode of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, which is a fun series. If you haven't checked that out, that's one to go watch. It's like Creep Show. Like every episode is something different. Um
Okay.
or what was the other one? Tales from the Crypt if you're from that generation. Um
Oh yeah.
and some of them are great, some of them you're kind of like that was really disturbing, um but it was just all fun, so a lot of good stuff.
Heck yeah. Yeah, let's which one did he do? It was the looks like the
He did, yeah, one episode. The Viewing
viewing.
was his episode 7, and I really don't remember which one. It's off the top of my
Oh yeah,
head.
it's got Eric Andre in it, Peter Weller, Steve Agee. Yeah, it looks like
Oh,
he
right.
got a
Yeah.
and Guillermo del Toro. Oh yeah, I mean he's probably the presenter. Yep, okay,
Hmm.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. He's doing like the Crypt Keeper style, like introducing everything.
Heck yeah.
Um, but still, like Panos makes some weird shit.
Oh yeah, it's I I remember when I first saw this, it was just like, holy crap. Wow, it is wild. It's trippy and
When
bizarre and
he's got some film pedigree to him. Like his dad was a writer director.
okay.
His dad did was the director of Tombstone, the great Western
Oh,
Kurt Russell Western Tombstone, to which he had worked on like I think a camera operator or electrician or something like that. He was doing some kind of down the line crew stuff.
okay.
But he grew up around film. Was was in that genre. I mean, he paid for Mandy, and it's a completely like he paid for the whole thing with residuals from DVD sales from Tombstone. Like that's how he
Nice.
funded Mandy. Um,
Just collecting his, little bit from his
yeah, from his dad's estate,
yeah.
which passed on to him because his dad has since passed. Um, but yeah, just residual sales from Tombstone paid for a movie, which really lets you know how much Tombstone is still making money.
Yes, that movie still airs. I'm sure there's probably with all the perpetual movie services online, there's probably just a Tombstone channel that is
Oh
just
yeah,
that
Pluto,
forever.
which often runs just movies. Like you log on to Pluto, see what's playing. I kept Tombstone on there quite a bit to the point where my kids are like, "How often do you watch this movie?" I'm like, "When it's on," which is kind of all the time. Um, it's a good movie. I like it.
Like yeah. So this movie is also led by Nicolas Cage
The one and only.
in a hell of a performance. He
Um,
is one of my favorite actors. That guy, he can do wrong, but I think
but
he
even okay, so even
always tries.
and that's the thing. Even when he does wrong and makes a movie, I'm gonna say like this one. Um, he goes whole hog, man. He doesn't skip on any performance, and I think that's when people say like his direct to video or direct to streaming kind of pieces. He puts the same level of effort and dedication into those roles as he does when he's doing a big budget movie or back in the 80s when he was winning Oscars.
Oh yeah, and I got the Blu-ray from the library and I watched the behind the scenes feature and he was, just talking to the director and he was like, "Well, I was thinking about doing this in this scene. Are you cool with that?" And it's like, this is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He's twice the man's age and he's Nicolas Cage and
Yeah.
this is his second movie and he's like, "Are you okay with me doing this?" It's like, "Yeah, man, I'm okay. I'm okay with you doing this." And there was Elijah Wood. He was a producer on this. He was also
Hmm.
talking. He's like, when I worked with Nicolas Cage, it's like I had to constantly stop and be like, "Oh shit, this is Nicolas Cage." Like, not freak out and blow the scene because, I'm
And
acting against Nicolas Cage and what the hell?
and this is Mandy is one of those movies where it is Nicolas Cage being the most Nicolas Cage that he's ever Nicolas Caged a movie. I mean,
Yes.
it is just full on like everything from the neurotic like standstill kind of stuff where it's very subtle like what was the movie he was in? Came out recently. I think it's on Hulu where he's in everybody's dreams. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about? Uh
is it Dream Scenario?
that might be it. I'm on my of course I'm on IMDb whenever I'm
Yeah,
talking movies.
I've got three
Um
tabs because that's where I use IMDb, so it's not all in my brain,
the fact
so
that
I
I
can.
have to scroll so far down to find this movie. Yeah, Dream
Okay,
Scenario is the name of it, but he's
okay,
I mean, it came out uh in 2023, like late 2023.
yeah.
The dude is a machine. He had three projects in 2024, and he's got another one coming out in 2025. I mean, the dude works.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
mean, he's accrued plenty of debt, and buying illegal dinosaur bones that'll accrue some lawyer
yes,
fees.
yep, he's definitely lived that life. He did another great film where he plays himself called The
Yes,
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Pedro
yes.
Pascal, and he obviously it's kind of like a parody of himself, but he gets it. Like he gets the humor. He knows who he is. That's another film that's totally worth checking out. You could do a big cage fest with that.
Oh God,
Um,
you could do his amazing movies that have won him all the awards and then all his
yeah,
terrible movies like The Wicker Man, which hey, that's
it's
next
on your
week's
list, right?
episode, but
Oh,
not the bad one. We're actually doing the good one.
oh, you're
The
doing the set. Was it
Yes.
73?
Yeah.
73.
Yes.
Um, but getting back to Mandy, when I said I'd come on, I was like, well, what are we doing? You're like, we should watch Mandy. And I said yes, like immediately. I said yes, like I'm
And
in.
I was like, "Oh,
Um,
okay, cool." I'm kind of surprised, but Greg
yeah,
watches
so
everything.
well, which is true. But I thought Mandy was actually the film Maggie,
Yes.
which is a Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think Abigail Breslin.
I think so.
um,
Yeah.
where it like it is post that movie is a post apocalyptic zombie film where it's over, like the zombies are gone, um and Arnold Schwarzenegger is living in a cabin in the woods with his daughter Maggie, who catches the virus, and she is like slowly being zombified. And so the whole film is him doing this like emotional piece of like a dad who knows that at some point he's going to have to like kill his daughter
Yeah.
before she either fully turns into a zombie or after she turns, and he's got to destroy her brain. um
Probably very quiet,
it
introspective,
kind of is
like
like,
slower.
yep. And so when I looked it up and I'm like, Mandy, this is not. And I hit play, and right away, man, it right away, like the first thing I noticed is at the beginning, I'd say half of the movie before the shit really hits the fan. Visually, it is a stunning film. Like
Oh
like
yeah.
uh
This
uh
guy's eye is
yeah,
just
Panos really played with color in a way that was really cool, very sharp. Very sharp and colorful when you're with the good guys, and then the bad guys is lots of darks and reds, and it's kind of gritty.
hmm
A lot of good use of just smoke, like to obscure things.
just
Um,
fog. Yeah, just
yep,
cover everything in fog and
smoke, fog,
turn it
even
red.
strobe lights. I mean, everywhere. And I looked it up. I was like, what? Where's this guy getting his part of his vision from? And this was after the credits were rolling. I was like, what the hell did I just watch? Um, I One piece that I found a little bit of research on the film was uh because I'm sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. Because Mantos stated that the film stemmed from his personal struggles with grief, making it a personal project for him, and it had to do with his parents. And I was like, what kind of childhood did this guy have that he made this like way out there cult movie? And that's when I found out about his dad working in Hollywood. And it sounds like he actually had a pretty kind of average childhood, except he's got a real issue with psychedelics. Like, so
Yeah,
maybe his parents were ex hippies,
or able
and
to just get them on the back lots of movies
there's
incredibly
that.
easily.
Yeah, that too. And then things started to fall into place of how he got the visuals for this film, because it
Oh
goes
yeah.
from like a happy trip to a poopy trip. I mean,
hmm
in at like the halfway point.
Oh yeah. It's it's wild as somebody who has direct experience from
All
people.
right.
Wink wink. Uh Listen, this is a video store. We can't talk about things like that, but people I know who have lived experiences quite exactly like mine, it's weird. Oh no. What? Shut up, Zoom. Says my thing expired. Um, but yeah, it like when he is bogged down in that weird place with all
Mm-hmm.
the like burnt out vehicles, it's like that's like kind of the waking up, like feeling, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
just what
Where
happened?
am I? I'm in mud. What's happening? Bogged down in this crap. Um, but yeah, it is freaking wild. And it is, yeah, obviously this guy has seen some things and he didn't see bad things. He saw good things by,
Mm-hmm.
choosing to ingest things.
Yep. Uh I took a cut like just reactionary notes as I was watching the film, just like thoughts that pop into your head. And right away I put visually stunning was like the first thing. Um Olwen Fiore, I think, who plays Mother Marlene, she the first film I ever saw her in, she was the older lady with the silver hair. She
Yep.
makes it mostly to the end. Um, she was in The Watchers, which
Okay.
was a film that came out, I believe, last year, uh, and is a great film. But it was the first time I ever seen her in anything. She's been working since like 1980. Like
Yeah.
she's a working
Okay.
actress, just recognizable now. And then as things start to take a turn, I'm like, demons on ATVs? Like, what's happening here? Um,
Yes.
so yeah, that's how, I mean, you got this happy couple kind of living out in the woods, in a small house, just doing their thing, man, like being happy hippies. Like really,
Yeah.
that was the point. And
Just
then
a
they,
couple of happy weirdos.
yep, this super like, and it's a super religious cult. Like I, as Cage says in the film, they were Jesus freaks, and I'm like, I wouldn't call them Jesus freaks. These are just like crazy nuts, you
Yeah.
know, like I wouldn't put them in the Christian category. We'll say that. And they invite horrors upon this couple. It's the crux of the film is that, I mean, and you can read this in the description. Are we doing spoilers? I mean, I should
Um,
probably ask that right away.
so in this first part, we will, talk about it briefly, how we feel, what we
Yeah.
like, and then the next part we get into the whole
Okay.
movie. So
So yeah, the and it,
you took little notes. I took way too many
oh yeah.
notes. Just
Um
that's just how my brain do.
so like within the description you find out that this the turn is like the wife dies. I mean,
Yes.
she's taken out by the cult. And then whoa, but there's a giant wasp that makes an appearance and you're like, why?
Weird,
Why?
crazy wasp.
Yeah,
There's
like murder wasps, like it's literally
mhm.
half a foot long that they keep in a jar.
Yeah, 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 yeah. As one is to do with their, giant hallucinatory wasp
Yeah,
or whatever the hell
yeah.
it is.
We're gonna make use of this thing's venom. Oh, it's one of those films. And then of course the dot, and his dick is out.
Yep. Yep.
That happens. Be prepared, folks.
It's one of those films.
Yep.
It's
Don't
not
watch it with
every
the kids
film.
around. Don't watch it at work. Not even on the
No.
side.
No, 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 no. This is uh this is one you choose to watch and you also make sure no one who is not supposed to watch it doesn't
Yeah.
see it.
Yep. Yep. Watch it with trusted people. We'll say
Yes.
that. Like my wife would not have made it through this film like at all. She would have been like, no, no,
Nah,
no, we're
nah.
done.
You can watch this another time. We're not
Yep.
watching this now.
Yep.
All right. Well, the rest of the cast of this movie, let's cover them quick. We have, as you said, Alwyn Fiore,
Yeah. Nick Fury.
and then there is Richard Brake. He is
Mm-hmm.
shows up later as a chemist, and then we have Bill Duke as Carruthers, which
Yeah.
I mean, him showing up, I forgot he was in this when the credits rolled. I'm like, oh shit, he's in here.
He passed away like recently, like mid last year, I think.
I I think he's still
Is he? No,
in
I thought.
IMDb says there's
Oh,
no
there's no
rest
death
in
date
peace day.
because he.
So,
I thought there was because he was in Predator. Um,
oh yeah.
as the guy, he was the dude in Predator. If you're not good with actors, the guy that was the black guy that was shaving, like dry shaving, to try to attract the Predator. He cuts himself. Um, again,
Wait,
class. I mean, he was in Commando. He was in Predator. So if you're an uh, 80s action film guy or person, then you've seen him.
and also he was Trask in X-Men Last Stand, who was played by Peter Dinklage in Days of Future Past.
Was he really?
Yeah, that's it. That's in his top
Oh
four
my gosh.
on IMDb for some reason was his
I
bit part in X-Men
I
3.
really blocked out Last Stand.
I wouldn't have remembered it if it wasn't on IMDb telling me. It's like, hey, you remember him in this? Nah, I don't. I
Yeah,
don't think
and
he wants us to.
I feel bad. I thought he was dead because I swear I saw something drop. Of course, social media being what it is, it could have just been a mistaken death.
Yeah.
I just took
Uh,
it as fact, like an idiot.
Fool! You didn't do deep research on everything? Oh my God. And we have Andrea Riceborough as the titular Mandy,
Hmm.
which
And
she has been in a handful of things.
she's been in a handful of things, and honestly, I did not recognize her at first. Like, I think I know her the most from. I only recently watched
Oh,
Matilda the musical, so which was
it's,
I liked that. I thought that was pretty
I've
good.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, Death of
Yeah.
Stalin, Battle of Sexes. These are all things I've seen, but really did not recognize her at first, and it was one of those where I was looking at her, going, I know her. Where do I know her from? Where do I know her? And I mistakenly, I'm like, oh, that's she was in this movie, and then I go look at her IMDb. I'm like, nope, that wasn't it.
Nope. All right. Oh, she was in Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor, which I want to see that. I still haven't seen that. I mean, all the Cronenbergs, I think his daughter also makes stuff too. So his son and
Mm,
daughter make weird, freaky movies too. So what a surprise.
speaks for the
Um,
family.
right? Talented, freaky weirdos. Gotta love it. All
Uh,
right.
Linus Roach, who plays Jeremiah Sand, the cult
Yes.
leader. Um, people will probably recognize him the most from the Christian Bale Batman films. He plays Thomas
Oh,
Wayne.
wow. Okay. Holy shit. Wow. Oh,
And
wow.
again, like other than Cage, these people like you've seen them in things, but they've never really led anything. I would say
Yeah. Because I recently
of note.
just let the Chronicles of Riddick play, and then just the other day I
Yep,
let the other one play, which he's in that, and I can kind of, wow, okay,
yep. He
holy
plays
cow.
the other Furion.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Wow. Huh.
and like it baffles me that Chronicles of Riddick was over 10 years ago now.
It's
Doesn't seem
it's
like it's that
wild.
long.
I forgot there was a third one. I
Oh,
constantly forget there's a third one,
because it's
and
bad.
yes,
It's a
it's
bad
like
film.
it's like, oh, Pitch Black. That movie just slaps.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Took
then
me by surprise. Like we went and saw that in the theater, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this movie's awesome!" And then a couple of years
yep.
later, Chronicles of Riddick. It was Conan in space, and you're like,
Hmm.
"This is fantastic."
It's like, holy shit, this guy just gets to do what he wants. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then
And then yeah,
this doesn't. You built up, you world built this whole Furion thing, and then you went and made this. But they're
yeah,
like, "Well, we're still going to make another one." I'm like, "No, you're not, dude.
yeah,
You're like you're pushing old age here. I don't think."
yeah. He can't go back to a character who's super mobile after being
Yeah,
Dominic Toretto for so long, where
yeah.
he sits in a car and then jumps occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And the jumping now is so CG. It's like
Yeah.
Vin doesn't move.
Yeah. His knees are shot.
All right, let's rip through this movie.
Oh, I guess
Let's,
one of my big questions. Did you actually? Would you say you liked it? Would you say you liked this film?
yes, I do, but I don't like I don't like
But
one part of it. I like I like, the beginning and the end the most. The middle part where there's the bad thing that happens to Mandy kind of
yeah,
sucks. But that is the catalyst that pushes it forward. But I mean, she also isn't just, fridged. She is like she effectively kills Jeremiah before Nicolas Cage does
yeah,
anything by just
hmm
fucking laughing at him, which is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. That was a nice touch. They didn't make her powerless. I
Yeah.
mean, she was unable to get out of her situation, but she didn't beg or
Yeah.
anything like that. I thought that was actually a really good touch.
But yeah,
So
just it is It is a tough watch. It is
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little rough. Especially the psychosis of the cult. Like I
yes.
and maybe just, you know, Panos has seen this, or one of the other writers. There's Casper Kelly and Aaron Stewart on, I think is how you say his last name. When like the repetitive piece, like if you see somebody who's having like a mental break and they just keep repeating themselves over and 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 over to
Yeah.
the point where you're like, this is creeping me out. They let that play in the movie. Like sometimes they will just cut it so they can move on. They did not. The editor just let that play out, and you're like, this is uncomfortable. So
Yes.
I I praise it for like the visuals and the filmmaking and everything else, but like I don't know if I would go back and watch this again.
Yeah, it is I like it because the visuals and everything you said, and that's why I've only seen this twice. I mean, it is a great movie in my opinion, and but I also like I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, and
Yeah,
I would recommend it's like, hey, go to YouTube and watch the best of clip or whatever the big clip that'll show up on YouTube when you search this. That'll be really fucking
yeah.
cool. You'll like
The
that.
when Cage's character makes kind of the turn,
The bathroom
to
scene?
yeah, yeah. When and his name is Red, the character's name is Red. When Red finally,
Yeah.
like, I got the feeling like there's Red's got a whole background that we're not aware of, like like special forces kind of background or whatever it is, that Cage is all of a sudden tapped into. Oh, this guy's actually like a badass, like, and knows what he's doing in terms of committing violence. Because he goes after his wife's killers, which, you know what, if that happens to you, I'm sure any other red-blooded American male is going to go, yes, I want to commit violence on the people that did that to my wife. And uh and Cage being Cage, man. One fight, he's fighting one of these bikers who pulls out a knife and he rips his shirt. It
You ripped
just,
my shirt.
you ripped my shirt, my favorite shirt. I mean, just delivers it with such caginess that you're going, oh my gosh, what was that? What what the hell was that?
Beautiful. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, yep. And then you just go, okay, that happened. We're still in it. And the fight scenes, the action scenes are pretty damn good. Like,
Yes. And the two major fight scenes, Panos was saying they had a night to do it.
oh
So
my
it's like
gosh,
that's fucking crazy.
that is nuts.
Like they
Because
were able to choreograph it beforehand, but you don't get to choreograph things with Nicolas Cage. So you're
yeah,
choreographing with the stunt guys, and so
hopefully
yeah,
it's fine.
yeah.
Um, the only movie I can think I've ever seen that had a chainsaw fight, like where both combatants had chainsaws, complete with swings and parries, and like it was a chainsaw fight.
Yeah, it's got yeah, it's beautiful because he's coming with his little chainsaw and he's trying to
Yeah,
start it and
and then
there's a bigger chainsaw.
here comes the bad guy who's got a bigger one that starts right away, and you're like, well, this is gonna get interesting.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, yep. And amongst the action scenes, and this was one of the things I wrote down in a very almost David Finch, or yeah, kind of way, they cut to this commercial where Cage is just, it's on the TV.
Cheddar
It's
Goblin.
it is for a mac and cheese, and
Hmm.
it's called Cheddar Goblin.
Yes, sir.
And the commercial is a green goblin puppet vomiting mac and cheese all over kids,
Yep.
and they are ecstatic about it.
Yeah, it's Cheddar Goblin.
Yep. And that's not a sentence I think I'd ever say on a podcast.
it's so weird. I'm yes, it's it's bizarre, the Cheddar Goblin of it all. Um, so yeah, let's just kick off. We've talked about the movie quite a bit already. So
Yeah, what do you got?
we are in the Shadow Mountains. It is 1983, and we are with Red and his, are they married wife? Or are they
I
just
would
together?
I guess that they
Mm,
don't really go into like did they go
yeah.
through the process of holy matrimony or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I mean they're together like
It
long
doesn't
term.
matter.
Yeah.
And they are uh cute little couple. He is a lumberjack, and that's okay. He works all day and goes to Mandy at night. And I like their little conversation they have about their favorite planets.
Yep.
He says it's Saturn, but then he eventually is just like, nah, it's Galactus.
Yep.
It's like,
It's
but
like
Galactus eats planets. Well,
yeah.
same diff.
Uh which actually comes back at the very end. I don't know if you watched that far when he's driving off as the credits
Uh,
just before the credits roll. He is very obviously on the planet Saturn.
oh yeah, yeah. I didn't realize where he was, but it
Yep.
is
Yeah, it
a
is.
crazy alien
Yep. Alien. Because
world.
I'm watching it, I'm like, where are they? Oh, wait. I get it. I get it. Okay, there we go.
Hell yes, very cool. Um, let me, yeah, too many notes. That's the thing. I don't need all of them, but it helps. Um, we have the children of the new dawn. They stumble upon Mandy while she is out strolling one day,
Country
and
roads, man.
country roads take you home to dangerous cults that hang out in rock quarries by satellite towers or radio towers or whatever the fuck it was. It's like a radio tower on top of a gorge.
It's
Uh,
where they found the set. They're like, we can film here.
yeah,
Okay.
it's cheap to rent this place out and build a cathedral out of two by fours and plywood.
Yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah. Uh
And again, there's no question to the creepy factor of the cult.
oh yeah, it's
Like right away, you're like, the look on that dude's face is not.
oh, and it's when she is out walking, she's out walking and it is red outside and
Mm-hmm.
it's smoky, and then we see her stop in her place and she stares off and there's a music cue and then the van rolls through the fog. It's like, this could be maybe a
Yeah.
bad thing. And yeah, it's a van full of weirdos. And
And
I love how freaking weird and grotesque everybody looks. They're
yeah,
not beautiful Hollywood actors.
not at all. In fact, that was one of the things I looked up. Alexis Julmont, who plays Brother Hanker, um, he's the one who's like, I don't think his mouth closes the entire film. Like
Oh
it is
yes.
constantly like wide open. He like moves his jaw to be like almost out of place. And you're just like, that dude is not right in the head. Like you just right away, you're like, oh no, no, and he does it through the whole film.
Yeah, and yeah, he's being annoying, rolling the window up and down when they're
Mm-hmm.
parked. Um, but yeah, things that stick out, I just love the weird things in it because it does start out normal with, the twinges of weird lighting and fog, but those are just atmospheric things. But then you get the Horn of Abraxas, which that's just a rock that they get when they
Yeah,
go out on their weird cult things. Like, go get me
yeah.
that girl, and don't forget the Horn of Abraxas that summons motorcycle demons.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget about that, just in case. You guys got your sandwiches too?
ATV demons
Yeah. Oh, ATV motorcycle, I mean, they're ready to go. And
in full like S&M leathers.
Yes, and one of them is covered in railroad spikes, apparently.
Yeah,
And
had a hard time making that out. I'm like, is that
yes,
spikes? Are they daggers? Are they syringes? Like, what are they doing
I
there?
don't know. It's very dark. It's very dark and
It,
insanely metal.
yep. And I think that's probably purposeful, where they're just like, you can't actually, through the whole film, you don't get a good look at these guys ever. Um, and their voices, like they did some reverb
Weird
on them
shit.
to,
Yeah.
so that's, I mean, but before this, you're like, oh no, these are just weird. Oh no, is this a supernatural thing? We don't really know, or is it just they're on a whole lot of LSD?
Yeah. Lots of LSD, piles of cocaine, and the weird LSD goop that Nicolas
Yeah,
Cage gets a little dollop of, and but
yeah,
then he also gets information from it.
I know.
So I that was another thing the director said in the behind the scenes. It's like, I wanted to add some like fantasy elements, and I was just he's like, instead of worrying about how to add it, he's just like, I just did it. I just
Yeah,
did it.
it
And it's like
it gives it a real art house feel.
it does make it feel very dreamy and trippy because it's like, how much of this is real? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because especially at one point when everybody's on LSD, it's like, did anything happen? Did this guy
Yeah.
just kill a bunch of, what the fuck's going on? So the children have showed up. Children of the New Dawn have showed up, and they are causing trouble for Mandy and Red, and that's when they put Mandy in a sleeping bag, light her on fire. It's really bad.
Yeah,
And it's intense. And
very.
it's a very cool stunt. I
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I like that. But yeah, the thing that's happening in the movie is
is
terrible.
brutal.
Yeah.
Like
It's,
flat out brutal. And they don't back really away from it at all. Like
no,
um
they make you go through it.
what I did appreciate, because I probably would have lost it at that point. I'd be like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Is that it's only you only hear the score at that point, like through that scene, which plays out for a little bit.
Yes.
Um, you're you're seeing the visuals and the horror of what's going on, but it's all you hear is the score of the film. If you would have heard Nicolas Cage, who I'm sure was just Cage screaming his head off.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I maybe not would have stuck with it.
Yeah, it really depends because like like we've said, he can win Academy Awards, but
Yep.
he can also win back to back to back to back Razzies.
Yeah.
Like
He's got
so
range.
so because you can just go to the Wicker Man and go to the end when he's screaming about the bees. It could be
Yep.
that, or it could be this movie where we get amazing because he is emoting so much and probably
Mm-hmm.
screaming his guts out. But you take out the sound, you put in the soundtrack over that, and it totally changes it.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful and terrible. And
Mm.
luckily, it's over relatively ish quick after you see
It
a lot of
seems
it.
yeah, you it seems like a long time, and but the most of the time is spent on his face
Yeah.
in the anguish and the pain that he's going through watching this happen, and he's helpless. Um,
Be yeah, because I think it is an actual stunt with a person,
it
with a
looked real.
performer.
Yeah,
So
it looked
it's,
like they put a stunt woman in a bag and lit it on fire.
yeah. And so, they hold on to it as long as they can safely, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's in incredibly slow motion. So you see,
Yeah,
every second of the minute they're able to film it.
yeah,
Um,
it was brutal.
yes. But that is over. Before this scene, when Mandy was tortured, she was drugged and she got the crazy huge bee that
Yeah, the
stung her,
wasp.
which I don't know if that does more because they gave her the eyedropper of LSD, which,
Yeah,
but yeah, she's,
the what you get like anything that's a forced anything with an eye, like if they're like putting something in people's eye, they're poking an eye. I that makes me cringe. That's one of those things that for me personally, like if they're doing close up shit with an eyeball, I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to watch this.
Yeah, I can't do eye drops like that. I put it in the corner of my eye
Yep.
and then open my eye. I can't do that shit. Like,
I
no,
oh
that's
it,
scary. That's terrible.
there
Yeah, it's
was oh
incredibly uneasy.
early '90s film. I think it was Fire in the Sky with DB Sweeney about
Hmm.
uh story of a guy that was abducted by aliens, and they're kind of like visualizing his story. And I remember there's one scene where they literally like they poke a what looks like a needle on an
Hmm.
eyeball, and it looks
Hmm.
like a real eyeball.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it was from that moment out, I'm like, nope, I just can't do eye stuff. And it just makes me cringe. But um,
You know who also saw that movie probably about the same time and is about a decade younger than you?
yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I saw that because it's like, oh, cool alien abduction movie, and I don't think it's rated R, so I was able to get it from the video store,
Yeah.
and
No, I think it's PG-13.
yeah,
And
so it's just like, okay, cool alien movie. Holy shit, what the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Why?
This is not the alien movie I was thinking.
Oh, this is what it would really be like. A
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh.
Full on nightmare. Uh anyway, yeah, so they do some eye stuff. There's the big
Yeah.
giant wasp, which it could be real, could not be real. I don't know.
I know there are wasps that are
There are
that big.
giant wasps out
Yeah,
there. But yeah, the way it was handled here, where they look like it was in a specimen jar, then you're like, oh no, it's still alive.
yeah,
What are they doing?
I don't know. It's weird cult shit. They found a way to make better
Yeah,
drugs or worse drugs.
yeah,
Um,
that's a common theme in the film.
drugs, more drugs.
Hmm.
This is where Nicolas Cage eventually breaks free, uh, and he cradles the disintegrating skull,
Yeah,
which more sad. And then we get the Cheddar Goblin scene, which is
yeah. He goes into his house, kind of sees that, and looks like he just kind of crashes out for a day, just like
yeah,
flat, passed out, like overtaken with grief. And then the movie makes a weird turn where it's
yep,
like it's not a it turns into more action.
yep. He literally goes to the Predator guy and he's like, "Where's my?" I forget what the hell he calls it. His
Yeah,
crossbow.
he had a name for it. And then he gets special arrows that he says cuts through bone, like something.
Hmm.
And then it's full assassin mode.
Yeah, he's going hunting. I mean, he's just a
Oh
hunter.
yeah.
And Bill Duke knows what he's hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think he gives him the breakdown of what these evil bikers are all about.
Yeah.
They're a crazy biker gang that was given a messed up batch of LSD and they went wacko
Yep.
and turned into demons or something.
Essentially, yeah. He starts to he gives like almost like the urban legend of these bikers that were all of a sudden killing people on the interstate, and then it got worse and it grew and no one can take them down. And Gage is like, nope, that's my job now.
I got this. This is where we're also getting some title cards. Like we got the Shadow Mountain 1983 title
Mm-hmm.
card, The Children of the New Dawn, right after he gets his gear and he forges a very cool axe, which doesn't
Yeah,
seem
like
super functional, but it looks cool as
yeah,
shit.
it's cool looking battle axe. I mean,
But after that, we get the Metal Mandy title card that kind of like bleeds out
mm-hmm.
in veins, and then he is just full on. He's just hunting the bikers.
Yep.
It's not really. There's not really a lot of leg work. He's just there, which I
Yeah.
like it. I don't care.
Yeah. I didn't need to, I mean, because keep in mind this is a 2 hour film.
Yeah,
Like Um,
I started this at like after D&D last night.
oh, did
And
you really?
yeah, because I put it off and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, this is like hour 30, hour 40.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's over 2 hours. Damn.
Yep.
Oh,
And I mean, almost every bit of it is seen. Like there's no like really downtimes, I think. I mean,
no, not really.
after, and it's almost like at that 1 hour mark is like they are okay. Now we're making a different movie. It's going to change its tone, change its pace. Um, Again, filmmaking wise, you're like, okay. I mean, these guys are talented for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, but just the way they filmed it and the topic matter, it's like this is a niche audience kind of
Oh
piece.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, but that is the beauty of the age we are in, that things like this do actually happen. I mean, you get a weirdo like Elijah Wood being like, "Hey, I love your old stuff. Let me help you produce your next
Yeah,
thing." It's like, okay, Frodo Baggins, calm down.
yeah. You take that Lord of the Rings money and you don't have to worry about bills anymore, and you make whatever you want.
Yeah. And hey, I love that he's helping other people make whatever weird stuff they're making, because this is this is a great example of that.
And I mean, his production company. That's kind of what they do. And ever since he made Lord of the Rings, I mean, people got to know like Elijah Wood's done weird stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he totally embraces like that weird filmmaking piece, that
He
art
uh
house horror, you know.
he remade Maniac, which is uh it's a weird fucking movie to remake. It is a 1980 movie about a
Slasher film, right?
yeah, a psychopathic man going on a killing spree in New York. And it's like he remade that as he chose to remake that versus, going the easy normal route. It's
Yeah.
just so yeah,
I,
that's the kind of person he is.
Not a lot of romantic comedies on his IMDb page.
Yeah.
Which actually, and now he's got a recurring role in Yellow Jackets. Do you watch that at all? The
No, but
Showtime show.
I've just recently become more aware of it and I'm kind of interested.
It's worth it. I mean, it's not as far out as Mandy, I would say, but it's still dealing with some pretty weird topic matter. Um, and it's set in two time periods. You got the girls that are surviving in the woods because it's a soccer team that crashes in the Canadian Yukon. So
Hmm.
they're surviving, and that's one part of the show. And then um there's the girls when they're adults. They're like in their mid 40s and have families, and like how have they adjusted? Um, so like some of them do get back um and survive, but then it's the go between, and it's good show, it's good TV. Um,
Mm.
yeah, you should check that out.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at his producer credits, and he was also the producer on one of my other favorite movies, The Greasy Strangler, which is a crazy, messed up, freaky, weird movie
The
that is even
Greasy Strangler.
The Greasy Strangler.
Oh, and
It's,
I see he's going to be in the Monkey that comes out here pretty quick if it's
I,
not out already.
I think that's out right now, isn't it?
It might be. Yeah, it's the new. It's a Stephen King, uh, based on a Stephen King novella. Um,
And it's directed by Oz Perkins,
mhm.
um, Anthony Perkins' son, the original Psycho.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was his lineage.
Yep. It's pretty neat. 'Cause I think he was in one of them, I swear. I don't know. Yeah, he was in Psycho 2 as young Norman. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Very cool. But he's also, oh yeah, he was in Nope. I forgot about that. Oh yeah.
But not a lot of mainstream and very. I mean, it's varied. I will say that. Um, he's got a lot of video game credits. He's got a lot of like one episode of this movie or this show or that show. Um, yeah, I mean the guy is doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, there is a apparently an Among Us TV series that is coming, and Elijah Wood is doing a voice on that. What
Oh,
the?
really?
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
look at that.
Okay. It, what? I
Well, and
mean,
I'm looking. He's in Toxic Avenger as
yeah,
Fritz Garbinger,
yeah.
uh,
Which
which
I
is a
want that
movie that
friggin' movie to come out.
yeah, I mean it's done. It's in the can, and then it was
Yeah.
never going to see the light of day, and now they're trying to revive it. And last I heard, it's coming soon, like
It
sometime this summer.
it's supposed to come out in 2025, but it
Yeah,
was finished and screened in 2023. So
yeah,
it which like people were saying, "Oh, it can't be released." No, that's I've seen movies that have come out after that, and it's
yeah.
like you would have to do something like illegal
Well,
to not
they
be able to
were
release a movie.
for that particular film. I heard it. I heard it's not good, and so the
Yeah,
studio was just going to take it, call it a loss, and take the insurance money. Kind of like what happened with the Batwoman film.
yeah.
Um, and but Peter Dinklage and who stars in it, and the other people that are in the film, which have some star power. I mean, even though it's still a Lloyd Kaufman kind of
Trauma
remake,
feature,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
kind
it's
of
a
thing.
trauma, but they're like, no, we want this out there, and we're gonna make a stink if it doesn't happen. So it is getting released. So good. Like actors
Oh,
make movies, they want people to see them,
oh
and I'm
yeah.
happy they got it done.
And it's just like especially it being associated with Lloyd Kaufman, it's if you don't know the man at all, he is New Jersey's preeminent filmmaker. He's the co-head of Trauma Films, but they have launched a ton of careers. James Gunn is an
Absolutely.
alumni, and there's people who have he's worked with, but I mean, the man will release anything if it
Yeah.
can sell. And the fact that a studio's like, oh, we don't think it'll sell, I guarantee that just seemed like a challenge to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've he goes by Uncle Lloyd.
Yep.
I've spent some time with him, and one, you talk movies with him, he's brilliant. Like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the dude is on a whole nother level when you're talking about movies. Like he's he's bringing up like German films from the 1930s that no one's ever heard of as like some of his most inspirational films. I'm like, uh, okay. I mean, go look up trauma films and just look at
Yes.
some of the titles that this man has put out and puts his name on proudly.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, oh, oh, but the man's a film genius. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, yeah, right now, I mean, the dude is, I believe, in his 80s, and
He's
just
getting up there.
yep, just doing it for the love of the game, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they don't make money. They barely make enough to like
Nope.
write off their movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I met him in Chicago at a couple of Comic Cons where they had a Trauma had a pretty big booth, and like all their movies out on the table. Come take pictures of them. Trauma is kind of known for some like TNA kind of films,
oh, yeah.
and so he's got his the Tromettes as he calls them. They'll be walking around there and get your pictures taken with them. But I mean, I was you know, the ladies are nice, but talking with Lloyd Kaufman, who's freaking legend,
Yeah.
is so much fun, and he will talk with any fan. Like he makes himself accessible, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, he is a pillar of the community and
Mm-hmm.
not just the bad movie community because like I said, he's far-reaching despite being such a strange niche man.
Oh man,
All right, let's get through the rest of this. We're pretty much there. He runs through the bikers pretty quickly.
yeah,
There's
pretty handily.
yeah.
Like he doesn't. You're expecting him to get the shit kicked out of him like every time he meets one. Not the case.
Yeah, I mean the children of the what the hell children of the New Dawn put up more of a fight than the bikers
Yeah.
do. But the bikers, they look so fucking cool. They
Yeah.
have Boba Fett syndrome. It's like, so what do they do? Not much, but look really
Yeah.
cool.
But look at them. Look at
Look
them.
at how cool they look. But what do they do? Well, one of them gets hit by his truck and it makes him flip his truck. So does that one survive? No, he dies
Yeah.
instantly.
He
It's
dies.
immediately. Oh, so they just look cool. Yep, 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 yep. Um, yeah, the axe and knife fight he has with the lead one is
Hmm.
very cool, well choreographed, and it's cool because he's using his crossbow to take out the other ones before this one, and he shoots the leader right in the damn neck. And
Hmm.
it's like, all right, that's a kill shot. And then the leader
No.
pulls it all the way out, and it just sprays blood. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, he's
We're
fine then.
and again, are we dealing with supernatural stuff? We don't really know, but it this is what happens.
It is what it is.
But yeah, that
Um,
fights that the and I don't know if it was Nicolas Cage the whole time because the way they shot it, it very well could have been a stuntman. But um, whoever was swinging that axe knew what they were doing. Like the choreography was very cool.
yeah, it I legitimately, like, once I watched the behind the scenes stuff, it's like, oh, I cannot believe they did that in one night. They,
Yeah,
like, sure, they might have been able to choreograph it for weeks while they were doing other stuff, but to get all of that in one night, it's friggin' great. And
yeah,
I, if they would have said, oh yeah, we had a week to get that, all that footage and put that together, I've been like, oh wow, cool, that's amazing.
and
But
I think that's a little bit of like the American filmmaking trap is that we look at something like that that's so cool, and we're like, they did that in a night. How they do that? Um, I remember being in college and I had to read um, the class I was in. They're like, pick somebody that is outside of your culture, and I want you to read like their autobiography. So I chose to read the one of Jackie Chan's autobiographies because I am not an Asian man. Um, so, and he's talking about like when like his first American film was Cannonball Run 2.
huh,
Um, and he's barely in it. But that was his breakout role in American film. And he was writing like it took so long to do these shots because where he was from in the Hong Kong film market, they are cranking out films. He's like, American actors do one, maybe two movies a year, and that's all they do. He's like, I'm doing six
yeah.
high action pieces, high stunt pieces, and for half the budget, and we're just cranking them out. So I wonder, I tell you that story. So I wonder if Panos was just like, nope, we're doing this like Asian film style, and whoever his stunt coordinator was like, okay, let's do it. Let's just get in there. And the pace that they shot it at was probably breakneck speed, um, to get all the shots and the angles and everything else. And you know, we're not doing 17 takes. If we got it in two, we got it in two.
Oh yeah, especially I mean with Nicolas Cage as your lead, we cannot waste time. We're
Yeah,
every second he's not doing something that we're filming for this, it's wasted time.
yeah.
And I mean, especially from smaller budget independent studios and um craftsmen, they they've gotta just use every second they have because it's
Mm,
just, they don't have the scope that like Spielberg will have. Like they don't have
right.
that depth to pull from the pocketbooks and, everything because
Yeah.
they have their budgets and their time.
I
That's
I
all
want
they have.
I wonder who would have to tell Steven Spielberg that you're over budget and late on a film. Does anybody do that, or do they just go, it's Steven Spielberg. Let him do what
I'm
he wants.
I'm I'm listening to a podcast right now, not as we speak, but uh in my life, that's covering him, and it seems like he is very good about that now
Yeah.
at managing that himself, but I think he would be receptive to that. I think
Yeah,
he'd react better than a George Lucas type.
sure. Uh, for
Hey,
I
George.
thought of James Cameron.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
we you want to do these Avatar films 14 years apart? Yeah, whatever. We'll get
Yeah,
to it. We'll pay for it.
I'll just do it. Don't worry. What do
Yeah,
you mean? I'll make some proprietary sub stuff, then I'll sell that, and then I'll make a movie.
yeah.
What?
I'll create a new film camera that can be used somewhere that cameras aren't supposed to go, and that'll pay for it.
All right, Jim, I thought you were making movies.
Yeah,
I just did. What?
yeah, yeah. That's he made movies, and now he makes documentaries and film tech and then every once in a while he'll make a movie.
Yeah, and now he's just like, here's an Avatar movie in 6 weeks. What?
Yeah,
The fuck are you talking about?
coming out in 6 weeks. It'll make 3 billion worldwide. You'll be fine.
A- and then 2 years later, be like, what? There's an Avatar
Yeah,
movie? Oh
they're
yeah,
doing
it's
another
one of
one.
the high. It was one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Everybody loves it. And what kind of cultural significance does that have? None at all. It's an incredibly overrated movie.
Absolutely.
So we have, I think most of the bikers have been killed, and
Yeah.
Red is headed to take out the children of the New Dawn after he gets a little dollop of some LSD goo and goes, well, I gotta go find those guys because I know how to find
Yep.
them now.
So he's juiced up and ready to
Mm,
rumble.
Juiced up. Oh yeah, and he also did a whole bunch of cocaine
A
too.
whole bunch, like a whole
When,
bunch.
because yeah, there's one of the bikers who is just watching porno and he's just has his face in a pile
Oh,
of cocaine.
okay.
And
Can we take a minute? Like,
do you want to talk about the seven attachment that he has from the
oh
movie
well,
Seven?
but okay, there is that.
There's
But
that.
but just the like, you go into the scene and the dude's watching like 70s porn,
Hmm.
and they just let it play like in
Yep.
the background. Like there's no, I mean, it doesn't show some of the more porny scenes, um, but definitely there's stuff going on, and you're
Yeah.
like, and the two dudes trying to kill each other while it's, and you're like, what am I supposed to be watching right now? Where is my attention supposed to
Yep.
be drawn to?
What is going on? I
Yeah,
mean, that's the benefit of not being rated by the MPAA, or I guess it's just the MPA
most
now.
definitely not. Yeah, they circumvented that, and we're unrated.
Yeah, especially, I mean, this is, I think, just played film festivals and then was released
Yeah, just
digitally and
streamed.
on demand. So, which, I mean, I think you have to pay to get that done and then also follow their rules and blah, blah, blah. And it's mostly just for awards,
Yeah,
ultimately.
yeah, it's self-imposed rating system, but um yeah, the whole seven piece, I mean, that callback, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, those evil bikers are dealt with, and this is where we get Nick Cage going to the rock quarry where the children of the New Dawn are hole up, and yeah, this is where we get the chainsaw fight, which
Yep.
is a great little scene because he has sustained some injuries on his journey here. He got yeah, I forgot he got stabbed in the
Mm-hmm.
side because yeah, when Jeremiah was on one of his spiels, he was talking about Christ and getting
Yeah,
stabbed.
stabbed in the side, and there is a nail through the hand at one
Yep.
point. um so there's some imagery there that they're playing with.
Yeah.
uh the chainsaw fight is part cool and part comedy, which I didn't kind of see coming, especially at this point in the film.
Oh yeah, I mean, Nick Cage is great at selling being beat to shit and then trying to get the chainsaw started and then yeah, just the full
Yeah,
on sight gag of oh, let me pull out my chainsaw that just keeps coming
yeah,
out
is
like the
5 feet
Joker's
long.
gun. Yeah.
It's as far as chainsaw fights go, like Bruce Campbell would be proud. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's really it's a cool fight scene. Um, chainsaws and axes, I think, are hard fight scenes to just choreograph in general, but they did a great job.
And this this chainsaw fight scene is kind of, I guess it mixed with the Evil Dead remake. How at like the end of that, she has a chainsaw and it's like raining blood. I
Oh,
kind of combined them together and I remembered there being like downpouring rain, but that was
I
not the case.
yeah, no, I skipped actually the Evil Dead remake. I'm a purist in that
Yeah, it's not
particular one.
good.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
not
I've heard.
good.
I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch it.
It's not good, but there is an asterisk where there is a end credits scene, spoilers, where Bruce Campbell fucking shows up and it's just
Oh,
like, okay, so it's technically all connected better than
okay.
the MCU. All right, clap.
Um, yeah, yep. I did watch the latest one that came out, and it's I don't know.
Oh yeah, what was
A
that?
lot of
Evil Dead Rise
yeah,
or
it's very CGI heavy, which CGI horror to me is it just doesn't do it for me.
ah,
Um
no.
like the it remakes, it one and it two, whatever. I mean,
There's
the
like,
scariest stuff is the practical effects. When you're doing CGI, it doesn't hit.
yeah, there's like a 90-minute movie in those two It movies that is
Yeah,
pretty decent, but I'm not a good enough editor to make that happen.
yeah.
Um,
The so the deaths of the the deaths of the cult members
yeah.
very similar in that everybody's just begging for their life,
Hmm.
but weird that everybody else they're all offering like sexual favors. I mean,
Yes.
that's I was like, is this really like what you're down to? I mean, and I get it. Like these are lowly human beings. Like these
Yeah.
are like the lowest of the low, and they think that that's what's going to save them. Um, and Nicolas Cage just Red's having none of it at this point.
Yeah. There is one girl who is spared because she seems to be kind of
The
uh
normal one.
yeah, and she is kind of a victim because when Jeremiah is first introduced, when he's in the house or wherever the hell they are, and he tells them to go get Mandy. He says, call in sister, what's her name? And
Mhm.
he presumably does, not great stuff to her. And when Nicolas Cage starts his killing spree, he does just kind of ignore her and then move on to the rest.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, Mother Marlene, she's like, I'm a super great lay, my
Yeah.
Jeremiah says I'm a great lay, so you should keep me around. I give
What do
great
you
head.
think? Yeah, that was.
And
And again,
then,
you're just like, what'd she say? Oh no, yeah,
yeah,
she said that.
yeah, it's like, oh, she's talking about how she's a great lover, and oh, okay, oh, yikes. Ugh. And then Nicolas Cage goes to where Jeremiah is and throws in Mother Marlene's head, and Jeremiah goes on another tirade about how it's the darkness inside of Nicolas Cage that made all this
Mhm.
happen. Then uh, gets his Nicolas Cage gets his hands on his little head and just starts squeezing it, and he's like, "Dude, I'll suck your friggin' dick,"
Yep.
and then
And
crushes his skull.
crushes his skull, like literally pops it. So I had to look that up. I had to be like, how many pounds of pressure do you think it takes to crush a man's skull?
I say 30 to 60. I
30
mean,
to 60. That's a good guess. And according to the Googles, 1,100 pounds.
holy shit. That's yep, okay.
So
That's that's a
so
lot.
and because the interwebs are so connected, it's like Google knew what I was looking for. It was like,
Did you
uh,
recently search for Mandy 2018?
yeah. So it's like it's 1,100 pounds to crush a human skull. So so Nicolas Cage could not have done this with his bare hands. And you're like, well, he's juiced up on LSD and cocaine, so maybe that's what we're supposed to believe. Um,
Yeah.
I really thought it was going to be like where he, like, I don't know, like tears the head off and we'll see the spinal column, kind of a la Predator style or something like that. But nope, he just pops it like a
Pops
totally.
the head and then burns it all down.
Yep. Which
Yeah.
again, great cinematography. When he lit that thing on fire, that looked great.
Oh yeah. And when he is entering that church, it looks great too. It's I mean just yeah, the every frame in here is just you can
Yeah.
freeze it, print it out and just like that's beautiful. It's great.
Well,
Um
they have. I'm looking in the full credits. Um, I'm looking for okay. Benjamin Loeb was the director of photography. Um,
okay.
who's done also he did Dream Scenario, also
Oh.
with Nicolas Cage. After Yang, Pieces of a Woman,
Oh,
was
okay.
his other one. Uh, I think After Yang had some good cinematography, if I remember right. Um, but yeah, the dude's got an eye, and oh yeah, well, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I gotta click the more here. Um, he's been working since 2007. A lot of smaller films.
Music videos.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Okay.
but you know, I don't know. I think he's talented. I think give this guy a shot on something big.
Yeah. Nice.
So Ben Loeb, got to look out
Oh.
for. So yeah,
Oh,
he
great.
pops the bad guy's head. Big scene of him burning down the church, everything else. And when the credits roll, zero music. Just just red print on black, black drum. I was like, okay, that's again an odd choice, but
Yeah.
just silent.
I think I really liked it because I mean the music throughout is just it's so powerful and
Yeah.
it's perfect and sometimes overpowering because it's you're getting assaulted with the imagery and
Yeah.
the distorted audio and then the music and yeah, I forgot the chemist scene. That is a weird, crazy scene.
Almost a one off because you don't, I mean, the chemist was barely in it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's the guy who gave them the crazy LSD that made the bikers weird and but Nicolas Cage doesn't even talk in that scene. He just shows up and he reads his mind or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's fantastical. I strongly recommend this movie with an asterisk, of course. I mean, if you like weird, freaky movies and you're willing to give it a shot, I strongly recommend it, and you can always turn the movie off. That is always an option.
yeah, don't forget. Yeah. That is, if you don't like it, um, if you want to see just the action stuff, really go to like an hour in. Like you can miss the freaky cult, burning a woman alive. I mean, um, just get to the point where you know what, get to the cheddar goblin, let that
Yep.
be your mark, and then just take it from
Just know that yeah, start at the Cheddar Goblin, and then you get to see the bathroom scene where Nicolas Cage freaks out and
there. Hmm.
drinks a liter of vodka or whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just
And going again, full cage,
yeah.
full cage.
And I mean, there's clear camera movements in it because they didn't know exactly where he was going to be, but it's just because at one point the camera moves in and dollies up a little bit because he's just a little too low. So they got to give him a little extra headroom. It's like, oh, Nick,
Yep.
you're not where you're supposed to be. But
There
yeah,
were no marks at that point. It was just let him go, let him do his
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It's like you have the floor for 5 minutes. You do whatever you got to do. Just get us through the scene.
At some point, somebody's like, "Is that real vodka? Did we not change out the bottle?"
Oh God, I hope not, because we're supposed to film more things
Yeah,
today.
really.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it for the movie.
Yeah.
What would you watch this again? I think you said you wouldn't.
No, I don't think I would. I
Yeah,
really the only way I think I could watch it again is if it's a part of like a group activity. Like like if we got our boys together and we're gonna watch a movie, hey, we're gonna watch Mandy, and I would be the first one to be like, do we have to? Like,
yeah,
is this? But if everybody else was in it, I'd be like, all right, well, let's make a cocktail and just go on the ride again.
yeah. It is one of those movies that it's like, oh yeah, it's a great movie. You want to watch it? It's like I gotta go. Anyway,
Yeah, it's been well, and it's weird because like we have mentioned here like the cinematography, the music, the filmmake, the art of the film in general is very strong here. So if that's the kind of thing you're looking for, it's worth a watch. It, was I entertained at points?
yeah.
Is it going to be a movie where I'm sitting around on a Saturday night and want to watch it? No, I don't see that. Not it's not even a what I call a laundry folding film where you're just like, I need
Yeah.
something to do chores around the house and that's going to be on in the background. It doesn't even make them.
Yeah, you can't really watch this passively because it's like, wait, what the? Why is it so quiet? Oh, this is a weird,
Yeah,
fucked up telepathic scene. Oh, it's super cool. Oh, God damn it. I watched 20 minutes of this. I didn't want to watch 20 minutes of this. I
yeah.
wanted to do stuff. Yes. Um, yeah, I agree with everything you said. It is, yeah, it's not an easy watch, but it is beautiful. And I mean, you're not gonna forget this movie just
No,
visuals
no,
alone.
nope.
Like it'll stay with you, and if it's your bag, then it's your bag, and if it's not, it's not.
At, at some
But
point, somebody's going to be like, "Did you see Mandy?" And then you're going to have an instant bonding point with that person.
yes, it's gonna be like, no, I didn't, or yes, I
Did I
did, and
watch Mandy or did I experience
did
this?
I experience it? Um, but yeah, that is the episode for Mandy. I mean, that's the talk for Mandy. Next week we have The Wicker Man. It's hard. I haven't recorded any of the other episodes, and saying what's coming up next and what was previous is I have to think. Next week we have The Wicker Man, and I can't remember if I have guests locked down for that or not, but The Wicker Man is next week. And that is the 1973 one, not the Nicolas Cage one that has him screaming about the bees going into his
Not
eyes
the
and mouth.
bees.
The
Yeah,
bees, the bees. That is a movie I almost walked out of in the theater, but I've never walked out of a movie because I'm a sick individual.
because I paid for this thing and I'm gonna watch it.
Yep, exactly. I have
Yep.
been like shakingly violent towards a movie, just like, oh my God, just
Yeah,
fucking end. But it's one of those movies that exists, and you
it
don't know why
does.
the hell they made it. Um, yeah, that is that for that. So yeah, the Spring Cult Fling continues next week with the Wicker Man. Greg, where the heck can people find you? What do you do?
Oh gosh. Well, I've got my own little podcast that I do with my friend Johnny, and we are at johnnyandthegreg.com or wherever you find your podcast, be it Spotify, Amazon. We host through Podbean, so you can go check us out there. But yeah, wherever you get your podcast, go in, type in Johnny and the Greg, and you'll find us.
Heck yeah. And you guys are live on Sunday nights on
Yep.
Twitch as
Uh,
well?
every other week on Sunday nights on Twitch. You can find that link on johnnyandthegreg.com. We podcast live. We interact with the chat if people want to get on there and talk with us. That's part of the fun. It's like we like chatting with the people that are on there. And then we record that and release it the following Thursday. Uh, we've got a whole catalog episode you can go back. We have guests on. The show started like it was pre-COVID. Johnny had just had a daughter, and my kids were older, and he wanted to talk about parenting things. Um, and so we did that for a little bit, but then as the world started getting nuttier and nuttier, we strayed into just talking about current events. We're nerds, so we talk movies. We Johnny got into Dungeons and Dragons as we
Yes,
were
he
watching
did.
the show. Um, and that's where he met you and our little D&D group from our hometown. I've been playing D&D since I was 16. Uh, I was John's roommate so in college. So
Yeah.
that was his. He's like, "What is this thing? How do you do it?" He was too cool for it back then, but he's loosened up.
Hell yeah. Um, Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I don't
John's
know.
coming on. Hey, we're coming back. We
Yes.
set it up. We're gonna come back for like a monster movie marathon or something.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about horror movies or monster movies, or I'm gonna pick his brain a little bit more and kind of try and narrow down what movies I can watch to get in his headspace. I mean,
And
I've watched enough movies that I can just
I
be like, oh,
hope
okay.
I mean, being the name of this podcast is the video age. I hope at some point you can gather the old video age employees plus the owner, and we can just tell old video working at a video store stories.
Oh yeah, that is something I want to definitely do and get into more of. But wrangling people is not easy as
Adult
you can.
schedules are hard.
Yes, that is definitely if you run any D&D group, find a way to
Yes.
put that on your resume, and you can pretty
Yep.
much now just straight up say I run a D&D group, and people will be like, "Holy shit! Okay, wow, you
You
deal
could be
with
a
that?"
project manager. Let's do that.
But yeah, that is where you can find us. That's what we have coming up. And yeah, I'm gonna be showing up on your guys' podcast. But
Yes,
think
March 2nd.
I
March
think
2nd.
this is gonna be coming out after that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because this is recorded in the past, released in the future. Yippee!
So go back and look up our March 2nd show called Underrated Films, I think, or Underrated Movies or something like that. We're going to be
Overrated
talking about
movies, right?
overrated, underrated.
Yeah,
It's going to
one
be,
of one of those.
one of those that we're going to do, talk about movies that were underrated or overrated. And that's the plan.
Heck yeah. All right. Well. For Greg, I am Sean. This is Video Age, and just do the normal thing I do at the end of every episode is just go through the time portal here and go back to the video store that I run in the 90s.
Cool.
Okay, bye.